Hello everyone, this is a Steven Universe theory video on how strong is Alexandrite. It's finally here, the wait is over, you can now kind of stop asking me to, or at least like request me to, how strong is Alexandrite? Do Alexandrite, Alexandrite, Alexandrite. Well, it's finally here. The reason why I've been putting it off for a bit is because, well, you know how, like, with my other How Strong Is videos, specifically with the fusion ones, I talk a bit slow. I'm going to as well within this video. It's just a given. And those videos can drag on for a bit, and pretty much all of them are at least over 10 minutes long. And those are just with 2 characters. Now imagine that with 3 characters. The last one I did was with Rainbow Quartz. That ended up being 15 minutes. And this could well be over 20 minutes. But this time I'm going to be doing things just a little bit differently. Instead of just going over all the abilities that like each character has individually and then just do Alexandrite, I'm going to go straight to Alexandrite and then just talk about the abilities through there. It just seems a lot easier, and I kind of wish I did that a while back, but whatever. Let's just get on to it. So the first thing I should say for Alexandrite is she just has immense strength. That's just, right then and there. That's a 3 fusion, or well, 4 if you want to count Ruby and Sapphire technically. That is a very, very powerful fusion. I would say that Alexandrite is just as strong as Sugilite alone. Or, just very, very close. Or even, hell, just even plain out stronger than her, because Sugilite is just with Garnet and Amethyst, while Alexandrite is with Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl. So with Pearl's help in terms of strength, that clearly boosts. Plus, Alexandrite's got, 6 arms, while Sugilite only has 4 arms, but those arms could just as well be just as strong. Next would be the weapons. What can I say? Alexandrite has them all. Within, the guidebook that came out before, an actual fight, or at least, with the Alexandrite versus Malachite fight, in the guidebook, it said that, what weapon does Alexandrite use? All of them. No one really knew what that meant. Is it, just all of them fused, or is it a new weapon? What? When they meant that, all of them. She has all of them. Garnet's gauntlets, Pearl's spears, Amethyst whips, and even the fusion weapons. Opal's bow, Sugilite's flail, Sardonic's drill, or well, hammer, and then the feature with the hammer that can turn into the drill. That's a lot of weapons. Not only that, it comes with pretty much all the features with those weapons as well. So she could shoot out the gauntlets like rockets, like Garnet does. Shoot out energy blasts like Pearl from her spears, and even summon 2. Probably even more since she's got 6 arms. And then even have the whips from Amethyst that can light on fire and lasso, grapple, anything. Opal's bow, you've seen her use Opal's bow, and then Sugilite's flail with also the grappling and all that hit Malachite in the face pretty darn hard, actually. And then, of course, Sugilite's hammer, and I would, of course imagine that she would be able to use the drill, but, that's what makes Alexandrite really powerful. She just has versatility. She has all the weapons. And not only that, while I'm just thinking about it, before I forget, if I'm right, she also has the ability to, twist and turn, kind of like with Sardonic's, the articulation. She has a 360 articulation that Sardonic's has. I wouldn't say, every bit of it, not that flexible and articulate, but just the same amount that's just enough that can combine with the hammer's power. But that's more of abilities and powers and not so much weapons, but might as well go into abilities and powers. And the first one, might as well just get out of the way. Future Vision from Garnet. Does Alexandrite have it? Well, of course, she does have it, but how I see it is that Alexandrite wouldn't be able to use it, or she would have a little more trouble using it compared to Sapphire and Garnet, because Alexandrite is already a fusion that really needs to focus to stay formed in the first place. It's kind of like with Opal, but not to to something to the extreme, but pretty much similar. They could stay formed, but they still need to focus pretty darn hard to keep the form going, because even in the fight against Malachite, she almost deformed, or unfused, or whatever the right term is. She almost unfuse and all that, but she had to really focus to stay, calm and then actually stay formed. So because of that, future vision, I mean, I wouldn't say that's 100% guaranteed, but I would imagine that future vision does take just a little bit of concentration. And since Alexandrite needs to focus on staying formed, future vision, just wouldn't, come into play immediately, just like with Sapphire and Garnet. She could still use it, but just not like all the time. It would take time for her to actually use it. Next is something I sometimes don't bring up within my other videos that include the fusions with Garnet, that being her electric powers. Reason why is because, well, one, I just honestly forget about it, so sorry about that. And two is, well, because it's kind of a situational power. You don't see Garnet using it all the time. I can only think of like 3 times that she's used it total. There might be more, but someone can correct me in the comments. That's fine. One being the time that she helped fix Greg's van, to jump start it. Second time was with the, what was it, trying to capture Peridot, use the electricity against her. And then one was against fighting gem mutants. Only those 3 times that I can recall at the top of my head. And as again, it's just something that she doesn't really use all the time. It's just very situational. Now, of course, I can't imagine Alexandrite having that power and being able to produce a very large shock. Now that I think about it, since she was surrounded by water, she could have just used it against Malachite. But whatever, that might have well just made a fight a bit too easy for them. But maybe Alexandrite doesn't have that power. It's just something that only Garnet has access to. But I could still imagine Alexandrite having that power at least. But it's still pretty situational. Next is something that I just kind of want to get out of the way. Pearl doesn't have that many, unique abilities, and I know before you start typing in the comments or typing on your phone or whatever, well, what about Pearl's ability to use clouds, manipulate sand, clouds, walk on water, her holograms? The reason why I just never talk about those in my other videos is because, well, kind of like with the Garnet electricity one, they're very situational. And think about it, people. Pearl fights a lot on the beach. When does she actually use the sand to fight with? When does she actually use it as a power? Or even the clouds. And don't bring up, the Connie thing with her fighting against Connie and all that other thing. That was just kind of for effect. And then the holograms, I mean, she pretty much only uses those for teaching Steven and then just practice as well. That's pretty much it. I don't know why she doesn't use the holograms. It would help in numbers, advantage-wise, but I don't know. Maybe it's just a setup thing or just whatever. And then walking on water, I mean, again, that's just kind of very situational. It's not something that it's very special and all that stuff. Lion can do that, so does that make him as strong as Pearl? I don't know, but that's just something I want to get out of the way. Pearl doesn't have that many, unique abilities and all that, so that's why I'm just kind of going to have to skip her. She has the spear, but I talked about that earlier. Next would be Amethyst, and first off would be the Spin Dash. Now, as again, I can imagine Alexandrite having access to the Spin Dash, but what's the point of her having it? Amethyst's Spin Dash is not as powerful as Jasper's, is clearly shown with Malachite. She used Jasper's Spin Dash, and she was flying and just going at, top speeds of who knows what. With Alexandrite, there's no real purpose for her to use the Spin Dash, even if it's for, just a little bit of speed. There's no real point. Alexandrite's a giant. She can just pretty much run and walk wherever she needs to go within just, a couple of steps. So, the Spin Dash is something that she has, but I don't even think that she would use it. There's no real point to it. And the next one is pretty much Alexandrite exclusive, though I recently found out, I think last week or so, I realized to myself that it kind of connects with Amethyst, so I'm going to go with it. And that being Alexandrite's Flame Breath, something that's unique to her and all that. It's one of her exclusive abilities. She can shoot fire from her second mouth or something like that. Yeah, she can do that. Then I realized, well, that's just kind of random. But I always talk about how Amethyst can light her whips on fire. Whips on fire, and then the second mouth pretty much represents Amethyst because it's usually Amethyst screaming from there and yelling and roaring and then sometimes even talking, if I'm right. That's pretty much Amethyst's mouth, and she lights the whips on fire, shoots fire under her breath. It just makes sense. And not only that, from one of the recent episodes, Gem Harvest. Now, I don't know if it's just like one of the eating things or if it's something that she can do naturally, but she burped purple fire after eating 3 bottles of cooking oil. So, you know, it's something that you could give a thought of. So Alexandrite has the flame breath, and it more or less comes from Amethyst. Now, I'm not saying that Amethyst has flame breath, but it's kind of where it comes from in the first place. And with all of that, saving within, like, an entire, like, extra 10 minutes, what is the verdict? How strong is Alexandrite? Well, honestly, I don't think I really need to tell you, but she is by far the strongest fusion in the show that we've seen in action. I mean, you should all know that. I mean, I know that, you know that, we all know that. We've seen her. She's very powerful, very versatile, has pretty much all the weapons that the Gem have, except for, like, Steven's shield and all of that. She has it all. Flame breath, strength, weapons, versatility, every bit of it possible. Now, I did say that she's so far the strongest fusion, but do take into account that she still could have lost against Malachite if the Watermelon Tribe people didn't interfere with the fight and kind of distracted and messed with Malachite, because before that, Malachite did have Alexandrite trapped, and Malachite could have placed the finishing blow to unfuse Alexandrite, poof them, or even worse, shatter them if she had the chance to. So, do take into account that Alexandrite, I did say, is so far the strongest fusion, but that doesn't mean she's invincible and just downright perfect, because, as I said earlier in the video, she still needs to focus on maintaining her fusion form and just maintaining the fusion overall. So if she doesn't focus as hard, or she just kind of gets distracted, she could unfuse, and then all that power is gone within an instant. Though, then again, they could just probably, like, fuse again. There's no real harm in that. So, yeah, that's it. That's the How Strong is Alexandrite video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Have any questions, comments, or concerns, or any other discussion topics you want me to talk about, leave them in the comments as well. Want to draw any fan art for the channel, be greatly appreciated. My email will be in the description below if you want to send me some. Tell me about it before you send it so I have a heads up. Thank you for watching. That's also greatly appreciated. Put a lot of work into these, especially this one. This is going to take a while to edit. Have a great day, have a great night, whatever time you're watching this, and everything else, you know what to do. Bye.